he plays a Morphic Pool, then casts Fastest Oracle. Welcome to the Cardboard Content, where we aim to develop our skills and grow the competitive Commander community. Hey guys, it's me, Benedict. Thank you for joining us this week. We have a showdown at a Darkside, and we have a very, very good game today. It was dominating, I should say. Thank you to everyone who joined us this week. Our locals came in droves. We had outstanding support from the local community. Unfortunately, we didn't get many out-of-towners this time. Hopefully, for our next event, they will. Without further ado, here is our game. Starting us off, we have Larry playing Najeela with an opening hand of 6 cards. Then we have Richard playing Cecily Wernog with an opening hand of 5 cards. Then Anthony with Teferi, 7 cards in hand. And Rakdos Muscle, one of the newer commanders, being played by Kyle and having 7 cards. Larry is our player 1. He starts us off with a City of Brass, into a Jeweled Lotus, into a first turn Najeela, then casts the Dark Ritual, into a Demonic Tutor, into a Deathrite Shaman. With a blazing start, he passes turn. On Richard's turn, he plays an Exotic Orchard, then a Lotus Petal, then casts Arcane Signet, and passes turn to Anthony. Anthony plays an island, then casts Ponder, shuffles and draws, and passes turn to Kyle. On Kyle's turn, he plays Cavern of Souls, then Mana Crypt into a Talisman of Indulgence. He passes turn to Larry. On Larry's turn, he plays an Arid Mesa, cracks it for a Tundra, then casts Rhystic Study. Moves into combat, attacks Richard for 3 and Anthony for 1. He passes turn. On Richard's turn, he plays a Verdant Catacomb, cracks it for a Undercity Sewer, surveils, and then bins a Soul Ring. Then he casts his commander, Wernog, triggering Larry's Rhystic Study. Larry draws. On ETB, everyone chooses to investigate, so Richard nets 4 clues. On Anthony's turn, he plays an island, casts Soul Ring, paying for Larry's Rhystic Study, then casts Grim Monolith. Larry draws with Rhystic Study, then Anthony casts Manifold Key, triggering Larry's Rhystic Study. He taps Grim Monolith, uses floating mana from Grim Monolith to pay for Rhystic Study, and then use Manifold Key to untap Grim Monolith. Kyle's up, he rolls for Mana Crypt, he loses 3. Casts Jeweled Lotus, triggers Larry's Rhystic Study, Larry draws. Then casts his commander, Rakdos the Muscle, triggers Rhystic Study again, Larry draws. He passes turn to Larry. On Larry's turn, he plays an Ancient Tomb, then casts Mystic Remora, then casts Phantasmal Image, enters, and Larry chooses Rakdos the Muscle. Larry enters combat, he attacks with Najeela and 1 warrior, which triggers Najeela's ability to net 2 more warriors. Najeela goes to Richard, and the 3 warriors go to Anthony. On Richard's turn, he plays a Morphic Pool, then casts Fastest Oracle, triggering Larry's Rhystic Study. Larry draws. Kyle responds by casting Pyroblast, triggering Larry's Mystic Remora and Rhystic Study. Larry draws 2. Pyroblast resolves, countering Fastest Oracle. Richard passes. On Anthony's turn, he casts Thran Dynamo, triggers Mystic and Rhystic. Larry draws for both. Anthony taps Thran Dynamo, floats 3 mana, uses the 1 remaining mana from Grim Monolith to use the key to untap Thran Dynamo again, leaving him with 6 colorless mana in his mana pool, then casts his commander Teferi. Triggers Rhystic and Mystic. Larry draws, then Larry responds with Force of Negation, pitching Flusterstorm. Anthony uses his remaining mana to crack the clue, draws a card, Teferi gets countered. Anthony plays an island, and then passes turn. On Kyle's turn, he rolls for Mana Crypt, loses 3, then casts Molten Duplication, targeting Rakdos. Mystic and Rhystic trigger. Larry responds to the draw by casting Vampiric Tutor, putting a card to the top, then resolving Mystic Remora and drawing the card he tutored for. Molten Duplication resolves, and Kyle chooses the copy to be put into the graveyard. Unfortunately, what causes the copy to die is state-based rules. When 2 legendary permanents with the same name A player chooses one of them to be put into the graveyards. It is not a sacrifice trigger. He cracks his clue and draws a card, then passes to Larry. On Larry's turn, on his upkeep, he casts Worldly Tutor, tutors up a Darkside Extortionist, moves into his draw, then his main phase, and then plays a command tower, then casts Darkside Extortionist with a total count of 12 treasures. Then casts Derevi. Richard responds by casting Tainted Pact. Richard stops at Mindbreak Trap, then casts Mindbreak Trap, targeting Derevi. That resolved, and then Larry shows his hand of Underworld Breach, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Savines. With the Demonic Tutor from earlier in the game, Larry has access to Brain Freeze, which he has access to his entire deck, and his opponents call it good there. Good game, Larry. Kudos to you, Larry. Good job. Very, very dominating play. We had our commander turn 1, we tutored turn 1, ramped turn 1, and then we got a Rhystic Study, a Mystic Remora. Basically, Larry sculpted his hand to find his way. Everyone made a decent win attempt. End game summation, new commanders are very difficult to play. Understanding the game is part of it, and learning is the only thing we can do from here on out. Kyle, I know you were attempting to make a copy of Rakdos and assuming that it sacrificed one or the other. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, or it doesn't work that way. Anthony ramped himself out there, casted his commander. If he had his commander out there, he could have got a lot more mana for some untaps, maybe cast more artifacts, maybe had a Windland in his hand. Couldn't really tell at that point, but good job to everyone who played in this game. If you want to join in one of these future games or play in an event near you, topdeck.gg. This event was in collaboration with them. They have events going on almost every single week. Go to topdeck.gg for more information. Also linked down below. Down below also is our social media. Follow us there. Support me and everyone who helps us with this channel through our Shopify. Linked here. Another way to support the channel is through our Patreon, like these guys. I am pleased to present to you all our patrons. Our Tier 2 content consumers: Aaron at 4 times, Big Yoda at 4, Lex at 2, Marcus, and our newest patrons, Dylan and Troy. Moving on to our top Tier 3 cardboard cutouts: Wong at 6 times, Matt at 5, and Albert at 5. Much obliged. If you'd like to join us, patreon.com/cardboardcontent. See you guys next week for more content.